What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Now it's time for rematches galore as Cody Rhodes takes on The Miz, Alexa Bliss battles Nikki Ash, and Becky Lynch battles Asuka. Join us now as we look at this week's edition of the Red Brand, including the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Sasha and Naomi's burial continues, Hulk Hogan coming out of retirement, Crown Jewel 2022 announced, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also, check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and our non-wrestling channel, Incredible. Now, as always, we won't recap the matches, but just provide you with the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good as number 1, booking Bliss strong. Alexa Bliss is looking strong as she should, and while her WWE return has been limp, they're giving her time on WWE every week while it figures out what to do with her. Alexa is making the most of her situation as seen by her pre-match promo where she talked about being best friends with a doll and former bestie Nikki now being a superhero, saying, "It's weird when I say it aloud." Yeah, it does, Alexa, but you managed to salvage the lame-o lines. Number 2, keeping up kayfabe. Becky Lynch must have an always keep kayfabe t-shirt at home. How else to explain her looking out for the details, such as still having green mist in her hair after Asuka sprayed her with the green mist last week? If only WWE's writers could pay close attention, fans might enjoy its shows a little more. And number 3, MVP's wrestling return. MVP's wrestling return was a pleasant surprise as fans not only got to see Bobby Lashley get his hands on his former manager, but MVP got to show that he's far from washed up when it comes to wrestling matches. Although his best days are behind him, he's still capable enough to pose a threat to any opponent, and this match showed he'll be more than just cannon fodder when he and Omos take on Lashley in a handicap match at Hell in a Cell. But that was the good. What about the bad is number 1, bad Becky booking. Last night's rematch between Becky Lynch and Asuka was unnecessary for so many reasons. There's no need to add Becky to the Asuka vs Bianca Belair Hell in a Cell match. WWE's insistence on booking triple threat matches shows a lack of faith in Asuka's ability to draw. How else to explain adding Becky to the world title picture mix and making last week's win by Asuka look like a fluke? Number 2, Blackadder Becky. Speaking of big time Becks, what's up with that outfit she had on last night? We were befuddled by Becky's choice of attire as we couldn't figure out what television show she was cosplaying, Blackadder or The Handmaid's Tale. Perhaps Becky is merely trying to divert the fans' attention from her terrible haircut and makeup with an even more terrible outfit. Number 3, subtle as a sledgehammer. Naomi and Banks are quickly becoming war criminals, at least that's the impression the WWE is trying to convey every chance they get. The WWE sledgehammer-like subtlety in reminding the fans how Naomi and Sasha Banks disappointed the fans was unnecessary and counterproductive. There's nothing to be gained by burying the two because this makes them seem more sympathetic and giving them free publicity should they exit the WWE. The WWE's pathetic propaganda campaign against the former women's tag team champions might have worked in the pre-internet era, but fans know there's more to the story than what the WWE is saying. Number 4, Veer speaks. The wrestling industry has shown that some wrestlers are better booked with a silence is golden policy. Whether it's old school maniacs like George the Animal Steel and Kamala or past savages like Umaga, some wrestlers' mystique relies on them keeping silent and making the fans wonder what's going on inside the wrestler's mind. Are they as brutal as they appear in the matches, and if so, can anyone control them? The WWE deserves accolades for booking Veer well despite a debut that seemed as likely as the return of CM Punk. Having Veer demolish opponent after opponent while playing the strong silent type worked well, but watching him talk with Jerry the King Lawler hurt his character. It made him just seem like any other wrestler. Speaking of Lawler, while the King can still get some laughs from the fans, Lawler was the wrong person for the job as he cracked too many jokes. They should have brought Drew Gulak in so he could take a few bumps before the Mysterio showed up for the save. Veer would do so much better by having a manager, and we never want to hear him speak again. Number 5, WrestleMania Hell in a Cell. A Hell in a Cell seems like a bad remake. While we understand the WrestleMania Backlash is WWE's way of milking its flagship shows for rematches, this year's Hell in a Cell looks like more WrestleMania Backlash Part 2. Fans have to deal with 2 rematches, one of which has reached the unwatchable level, while the second, okay, we're at least looking forward to. But first, fans have to deal with yet another Bobby Lashley vs Omos match, a series that needed to end a while back, but the WWE may feel it's the best thing going for Omos right now, so why not stretch it out? Perhaps the oddest part of this feud is having MVP pick a stipulation for a pay-per-view based on a Hell in a Cell match stipulation. We might understand this if it was Extreme Rules and the WWE felt a handicap match was a good stipulation, but here it should either be 3 wrestlers battling in the cell or a regular match. Number 6, a fizzle finish. Last night's redundant main event between Becky Lynch and Asuka featured some good wrestling, but the finish was a complete flop, with big time Bex winning via a roll-up, not exactly the stuff of legend. The WWE can push all the main event women's matches at once, but as long as it continues phoning things in like last night's main event, the fans' indifference will only grow. Now, there was nothing downright ugly, and in fact Raw looked good on paper with some good matches of Becky vs Asuka, Cody vs The Miz, Riddle and the Street Profits vs the Usos and Sami Zayn, and even Alexa Bliss vs Nikki Cross. However, how many times have fans seen these matches, and was there any purpose to them other than filling time? We know better than to point out how weekly Hell in a Cell is being booked, because the WWE inevitably finds a good way to put on premium events regardless of its weak build-up. But that was our review of Raw. What do you guys think of the red brand this week? Let us know in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the news. First up is a big rumor: is Hulk Hogan coming out of retirement? Topping today's news is one of those insane rumors that wrestling fans know better than to dismiss outright: the idea of 73-year-old Ric Flair, complete with pacemaker, stepping into the ring with 68-year-old Hulk Hogan. As fans know, Flair is scheduled to perform at Starrcast 5 in July, but with longtime rival Ricky Steamboat turning down Flair's request, there's speculation as to who will wrestle the Nature Boy. As fans know, speculation means one thing: fans and wrestlers alike peddling some of the most ridiculous sounding ideas. Enter former WWE superstar Brian Blair, who claims Hulk Hogan is stepping back into the ring against Flair. Blair was chatting with Wrestling Shoot interviews when he said, "I'm looking forward to seeing Flair and Hogan at SummerSlam." As Wrestling News' Paul Davis explained, Blair likely means Starrcast 5 during the SummerSlam weekend in Nashville. The former Killer Bee shared his thoughts about one or both superstars kneeling over in the ring. "Well, I think if Rick were gonna die anywhere, he'd wanna die in the ring. Terry's had his fair share of surgeries, way too many, and I'm getting ready to call Terry in a couple of minutes. I just wish him the very best. I know the fans are the ones that have been really egging it on, that really want to see it, so it sparked them. All I can say, it'll be entertaining, and I just pray that they both come out in one piece." Who the hell is asking for this one? Are you guys? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, WWE announces the next Saudi Arabia Supershow. WWE's 2022 edition of Crown Jewel is official, as WWE.com announced that Saudi Arabia Supershow will take place on 5th November. Fans have little to go on about the show other than the tagline "Legends will rise again." The term legend has some fans grimacing at the thought of Bill Goldberg returning for another match. Although they have a number of former superstars signed to Legends contracts, it's difficult to think of any main event level superstars who can still work a good match. While they might woo The Undertaker out of retirement, many fans would prefer he and other retired legends like Shawn Michaels stay retired, both so that they can enjoy retirement and because they don't want to see them tarnish their legacy in the ring with a bad match. Of course, the Legends Will Rise tag could mean anything, especially for fans familiar with the WWE's habit of booking on the fly. Legends Will Rise could refer to a tournament that will acknowledge a rising star, or perhaps another instance of the finals for the King of the Ring and Queen's Crown tournament taking place at Crown Jewel. And finally, Dolph Ziggler shows his support for Naomi and Sasha Banks. And last but not least, as fans rally behind Naomi and Sasha Banks, and yeah, we know that not everyone agrees with Naomi and the boss's decision to walk out on WWE, some wrestlers are getting behind them, including current superstar Dolph Ziggler. The master of the zigzag tweeted a photo of himself and Naomi, with many people believing that this was Ziggler's subtle way of standing by their side. But there you have it, folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, as well as our review of Raw. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.